Hello artists, this is Rob. In this video I'm going to be talking about line weight and show you some tips and tricks for figure drawing and gesture drawing and how you can draw different kinds of quality of line and how that can impact your drawing and make it more engaging and more interesting and just better to look at in general. So let's get into it. The importance of line weight for figure drawing. Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. So, line weight, what is it and why is it so important? Here's how I define line weight. Line weight is the strength of the lines used in pencil drawing and inking, which helps to create the illusion of space using aerial perspective, using either the lightness or boldness of the stroke whilst taking the viewer on a journey across a drawing, sometimes speeding up and sometimes slowing down. In traditional figure drawing, as well with objects and buildings drawn in perspective, it is best to draw light lines for objects that are receding into the distance and lines that are stronger for objects that are closer to the viewer. This helps create believability and a true three-dimensional feel to the drawing. This is after lightly sketching in the entire drawing in its correct proportion and perspective to begin with. However, not all lines should be treated the same, as some will determine the importance of a specific part of the drawing, such as the focal point or main focal point, and objects which are not as important as others. It takes time and practice to know when and where to use varying line weights, but we can start to learn with some basic exercises. Hey everyone, so I've got my pencil here. This is just a simple 8B pencil, nothing special. And firstly I'm going to show you the two different kinds of grip, the most commonly used kinds of grip. One, of course, is the tripod grip, which is the same as the writing grip. And then the next one, if you just place your pencil down on the pad, place your thumb on one side and all of your fingers on the other side of the pencil and lift, you have what is called the overhand. And this gives you far more reach. You're able to do smoother lines over a longer distance. You're basically rotating your shoulder and elbow instead of your wrist, and you have more control over large areas. So for this simple exercise, I'm just going to show you how to draw some simple lines with varying line weights, which are a very good practice when you haven't really got much to do. That will help you to improve your ability to draw different weights and kinds of lines. So firstly, you could just begin with getting used to drawing straight lines. You can just try to imagine a certain amount of pressure that you want to lay down and draw it all the way through. You can also practice drawing in a different direction, such as vertically, away from the body. I find that drawing away from the body in this direction instead of from up to down gives you more control. You can also practice drawing diagonals. But the quality of these lines are pretty much the same. So you can practice this over and over again. I usually like to just try and draw in one direction and rotate the pad. So then you get really good at drawing in one way without having to train your mind, your brain, hand-eye coordination over and over again, drawing in different directions. You can just rotate the pad and do the same movement. So, different line weights. It really is as simple as you can think of pressure from the pencil to the pad, how hard you're pressing down and how hard or soft you are releasing. So you can start a stroke quite hard, pressing down, bring it across and let go. And this kind of tapers off a little bit at the end, as you can see here. Pressing down hard and then gradually getting softer. You can also try in the reverse, the same, except starting light and finishing strong. And you can do this in any direction. This is just a very simplified way of doing it. All you're doing really to remember is simply pressing down hard to begin with, and then releasing some of the pressure towards the end of the stroke. You can of course do it in the overhand position as well to get more of a broader stroke. Pressing down hard, then softer, tapers off, down hard. Let's try soft going into hard. You can see what the different kinds that you can do. There's you have a lot more control with the overhand. You can go over a greater distance. You can just practice this in your spare time. It's not the most exciting exercise, but this will get you really good at being able to draw different line weights on an object much more fluidly, you could say, much more easily, without having to stop and really slow the process down. So next up, I'd like to show you some examples of my own work, some of my own life drawings where I was drawing the model directly from life, and these were very quick sketches, ranging between 2 to 5, 10 up to 20 minutes each. This one was a 10-minute sketch, and hopefully I can show you some good examples of line weight that I've used myself, and if I see sort of room for improvement, I can just go over some of these lines to demonstrate the point that I'm trying to make. So you kind of want to think of the weight, of the figure. This is an example of like a figure drawing, for example. What parts of the body are closer to you, to the viewer, and what parts are further away into the distance, and also what parts are in shadow and what parts are important and not so important. You need to think about all of these things when you're doing your drawing, and also the overall contour, the outline of the shape is often the most darkest in a drawing, but obviously you don't have to do that on every single area. This helps to project a kind of silhouette-like graphic shape, which is easy for the mind to read, and it helps it to pop off the page a lot more. So here you can see that I've used slightly lighter lines that have tapered off on the legs that are receding into the distance. Also, this arm is lighter than this one. I could probably go over some of these lines of the hands, for example, a bit more, as these are the shadow areas. Not too much. I've already got enough here. Potentially the head, the shape of the head, some of these hair shapes I could make more pronounced with a darker line, simply going over it to make it stronger, leading into the face. This foot here could probably do ever so slightly darker. And perhaps this line here of this arm. And you can see the difference. It's quite subtle, but you can see it. This was a much quicker 5-minute drawing from life, and you can see in some of these lines the different use of line weight. This arm is stronger, it comes forward a bit more than this one. This outline shape is stronger than the outline on the other side of the body. slightly more darker lines on the head and the eye to draw attention to the focal point, which is the lady's expression on her face. And I could, of course, darken some of these lines. But not too much. And this just helps to create a bit more visual interest in the drawing as well, with the different qualities of line. And you can experiment with these. The great thing about life drawing is many of them are quick poses, especially gesture drawing class, and you can just get a lot of these done quite quickly and experiment a lot more than with longer pose drawings. This is another one here of model Katie. You can see the darker lines on the underside of the body can kind of almost helps to give the impression of weight and gravity as she's sitting on this cushion, and I haven't put very strong lines in this part of her hair and this side of her body. You can see this leg is further away, it is lighter, the lines are lighter, the lines on the leg that's pointing coming towards us, the lines are stronger underneath, and some slightly stronger line weight on the top of her head to help make her head pop out, and also some details going on in there. This is a 10-minute life drawing sketch. This is probably one I can actually work on top of a little bit more. I can see the potential for some more line weight that could be added to it. For example, this arm, which is a lot more closer to us. This finger. And I was quite happy with the contour shapes of her hair, which helps her head pop out, but some of these lines could be darkened further. Perhaps some of these lines in the lower part of her body. And maybe even some more of her hair. And some more of those lines. So here is an example that I won't draw over. I'll just show you the different line weight qualities in the drawing. So this was just a 5-minute sketch, but I think it came out quite well. It was a gesture sketch, and I was basically holding my pencil in the overhand position the whole time, as far as I can remember, but simply applying different pressure at different parts of the drawing. You can see it in some of these lines. These lines are very strong, much darker. I pressed harder as I went along, and a lot lighter in areas. This arm is very light. 2 lines down here that bring out the hand a slightly bit more. This is an example I'll use. This was a 15-minute sketch of model Annie, I believe. In this one you can see where, to begin the sketch, I'd go very, very lightly. I would sketch in, the main shapes of the figure, a gesture line that's kind of the line of force that runs all the way through the body, followed by the larger shapes, ovals and other curved lines. So I'd sketch in all of that very lightly, holding my pencil almost as lightly, if somebody was to tap your pencil, they could knock it out of your hand. And then I would switch that from an overhand grip to a tripod grip and begin going over with stronger pressure and getting in some of those details. This is another example of a 5-minute gesture drawing, and you can see here the different line weight qualities, quite stronger on the right hand side, the darker lines and the hair, and lighter and tapering off in areas as I let go of the pencil as my hand was kind of skating around the page. This is a really fun exercise to do with life drawing. And finally, you can see in this sketch example where I was holding the pencil very lightly for the duration in an overhand position. You can see some of the structural oval shapes and ellipses and the quick tapered lines that I was doing in the few minutes that I had to draw this, with some stronger tripod drawing, tripod pose in the eyes and the nose and the ear. Could have potentially have gone harder on the mouth area as well, just to draw some attention to the face and make the silhouette more stronger. These drawings, of course, are done very quickly as they are gesture drawings, and you have a limited time before the model changes their pose. You can still get some good varying line weights with these kind of drawings. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you liked the video, please do like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.